see.
All right, now we are about to transition over into the 9 o'clock hour, where we will be talking with Hollywood legend Michael St. John. His story is, I don't know why the word bananas comes to mind. For some reason, I feel like I hear him laughing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull his mic up for those of you who are not familiar with Mr. Michael St. John. Michael, are you there?
Hello. How did you know I was laughing? How dare you know me that well already? Really, Kathleen, darling?
Oh, goodness, you can call me Kathleen, darling. All right, we're going to have a good time. Now,
well, I'm so happy to be with you, I'll tell you that.
I am glad, and we are so happy to have you. It truly is an honor. You have just had one heck of an experience. I mean, just your life, even pre-Hollywood. I had the opportunity to do some research, and so I want you to introduce yourself to people, and you have close to Philadelphia roots, too, so you know I'm just loving you a little bit more.
Oh, thank you so very much, because I still have fond memories of Philadelphia, WCAU, WIP,
yes.
which is affiliate of NBC, and all the also the Children's Hour. Do you remember that show?
I do.
I was on that show, yes, indeed. Yes, and also the Paul Whiteman TV Teen Club over at NBC WFIL. We used to shoot that over at the Town Hall on Saturday evening.
Look, there are people listening going, wow, like we haven't heard these things. You know what's funny? I just said to somebody today, I was at a school and watching a competition, and there was a little person on there, and I turned to the person next to me, and I said, they need to be on Al Albert. And they started laughing so hard, like, you remember that show? And we just start, and you start thinking about all the shows that used to be on a long time ago that nowadays people don't know, I
know. It's sad because that's part of the history of this industry. It's part of our town there in Philadelphia,
Yes.
And I miss the hustle and bustle of Market Street in Philadelphia there,
Yeah.
And, of course, that soup company across the Delaware River in New Jersey there. So there's a lot of history there. Once you've grown up in that area, you don't forget all the little things that really sort of engineered the whole run of the city, and the claim for its name and its infamy as well.
Yes, it's the truth. And you grew up out in an area more of the Westchester side, Chester County side.
Yes, Swarthmore, Morton, Westchester, and Chester, all those places. And I went to Swarthmore High School that's the basis of really my play, I Feel Sin Coming On, which is a Broadway play, pre-Broadway play with music. And the entire story takes place in that area, Morton, that's Swarthmore, Philadelphia, And we're having an exciting time, Kathleen, and getting it together here in Hollywood. We want to launch it here in Los Angeles and take it to Seattle, Washington, San Francisco, Baltimore, Philly, of course, Boston, and hopefully we'll land in the Milky White Way in New York City.
Yes, that would be fabulous. Now tell the people, for those who don't know your history, a little bit about yourself. And I will tell you, as you're talking, if you don't tell the story, which fascinates me on how you even got to Hollywood, I was just blown away as I read that.
Well, that's so it's nice of you to even bring that up, because when I left Morton, Pennsylvania, and graduated from Swarthmore High School during the 50s there, I went to Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana. And at Richmond, Indiana, I was voted the first Afro-American president, at that time the first colored or the first black. Was more colored than any of those other titles. And the campus was wonderful. The students were wonderful. It's a Quaker school, and on homecoming day, during the parade, we were marching down Market Street, and I was attacked by the KKK wild young members. And the boys of my classmates, the guys, got me out of the parade and got me back to campus. And they hid me at the the attic of the Dean of Education, Pete Curtis, and because they were fearful that those guys might be want to come back to the campus and do more damage. And it's a good thing that they hid me out in the attic of the dean's house, because my dorm room was firebombed, and so it was decided then that I should get out of town quickly, and then the dean made arrangements for me to go to USC, and that's how that my scholarships and everything were intact. And so they hid me in the back of a truck around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, got me to the Greyhound bus depot, and then off I was to Los Angeles. And that's where my second win took place, and it was quite an experience because I didn't know anything that would follow. I had no basic interest in coming to Los Angeles. I wanted to go to Broadway after graduation, et cetera, And so it was quite an experience. And psychologically, emotionally, I didn't realize it, but I was quite wounded, because this is something, once you experience something like that, psychologically and emotionally, it just doesn't leave just because you escaped. It stays with you for the rest of your life. And I reacted to things, and I sort of blotted out of my mind, and it was determined to do other things once I got to Los Angeles, and that was the beginning of the race. And I call it our tournament race because I just felt that I had to keep on going in order to survive, in order to not to think about the things that happened to me, but to achieve, and to prove that I was just as good as anyone else, So it was quite a beginning of the journey, but that was
was
just the beginning. Yes.
And you have, it's interesting, as I read pieces of interviews that you've done and your bio and different clippings about you, I said, this man has lived so many lives in one lifetime.
When the rain begins to fall, I feel so lonely. When the rain begins to fall, I know you won't be there. When the rain begins to fall, there's nothing left for me, nothing at all to remember, nothing at all you see. When the rain begins to fall, I know it's